Authors and artists work really hard on their stuff, so please support them using the links below.
Shout out to Hunter for the $10 Patreon subscription. If you want to help us with our various Dragon Ball projects, all Patreon funds and membership funds goes directly towards stuff like Dragon Ball Infinity, the animated series. Still in Universe 3, King Vegeta convenes an audience who address their concerns with a newborn by the name of Broly. Worried the infant is none other than the legendary Super Saiyan himself, and a threat to the entire planet. At the very least, having such a high power at birth is not natural. Not wasting any time thinking on the issue, Vegeta orders the child's death. When Paragus comes rushing into the chambers, though he's warned, now is no time for interruptions. But not willing to be denied, he urges his son will serve Prince Vegeta well and go on to become a great warrior. But that's precisely the issue. Hearing the commotion from down the hall, it seems Paragus may have been executed. Torepo sighs, sounds like someone opened their mouth. Bardock responding, that's exactly what they're going to do as well. Barging in with his crew, he calls out for the king, claiming terrible things are going to happen. Turning and annoyed, Vegeta is bewildered by Bardock's intrusion. Quick and blunt, he explains Frieza's coming to their planet to eradicate them all, and they have to do something to prepare. Initially met with a stunned silence, even his crew believe he must have lost his mind, as the surrounding Saiyans burst out in laughter. Keeping his goal focused, Bardock can't blame the others for not believing him. Truth be told, even he himself wouldn't believe it if you were not in his own shoes. But shouting for silence, he states Vegeta is the only one he needs to convince, as Saiyans must follow their king. As another untimely vision overwhelms the warrior, seeing exactly how their home will be annihilated. Not waiting for his approval, Bardock decides the time for action is now. Per Saiyan tradition, he challenges the king to battle to claim the throne for his own, which comes to even more of a shock to everyone than Frieza's alleged invasion. Continuing, the rebel goes on to chide their people accept Vegeta's status as king for his part in liberating them from the Tuffles, but this will decide who the strongest among them truly is, causing one of the higher-ups to butt in, urging a stop to this insolence, and if he'd like to challenge their leader, first he must go through him, but Bardock declines. Finding out this man's name is Gherkin, the warrior reiterates he is challenging the king, not his henchman. As the others begin to utter in the background, the mutineer isn't even as powerful as Gherkin, so should he be victorious, he won't remain king for long. One scoffing if he knew he could challenge Vegeta, he'd have done it himself ages ago. Accepting the duel, Vegeta piffs at the idea that someone in the lower class could ever defeat him. Admitting he now sees why Bardock is considered an elite, the warrior growls at the foolishness of the king, snarling while he was sitting on his throne. He himself was off fighting, laying waste to dozens of worlds, claiming his superior strength. Escaping a close call, Vegeta begins to summon what may be the Blast Wave attack used to transform. Bardock knows now's the time to end this. Removing the pendant from his neck, Bardock emerges the winner. One of Vegeta's former men even shouts this out in declaration, though the new king is immediately challenged by Gherkin, which is accepted, but in accordance to Saiyan tradition, Bardock will have 1 week to rest. Resolving, they'll fight then. But for now, he commands their attention. This order will seem strange, but they must follow. If he is wrong, they can dethrone and kill him, but for the moment, unruly behavior will not be tolerated. First, no one is to alert Frieza of the change in leadership, as none of their plans over the next few days can be revealed, informing of his idea to slaughter Frieza's forces. And shortly after, the plans were followed promptly into a T. The Saiyans began their secret rebellion against their overlord. However, officially, nothing seemed to have changed, using the tyrant's own soldiers against him to feed misinformation. Lovingly caressing her beloved child, Nausea gets wind of what Bardock has been up to, only after the new king invited all Saiyan representatives to put his plan on display. At a podium before his people, he calls for an end to Frieza, explaining he's gathered all to the capital for the arrival of the tyrant. Surviving their battle, even the former King Vegeta knew Frieza would never forgive such an act, so he too worked alongside of Bardock to give them the best chance possible. With his aid, even the most reluctant of Saiyans were on board. A few days later, on Frieza's ship, it's announced to their lord, Dodoria has arrived. Catching them mid-conversation, the henchman elaborates how there were no Saiyans on planet Meat, even though their logs and scouts confirmed that's where they should be. Ordering he contacts said scouts, Frieza plans to push forward to planet Vegeta, connecting with one of their teams. There seems to be a delay, but then we see the Saiyans are essentially holding Frieza's intelligence officers hostage, continuing to give them bad information and falsely confirming Bardock and his crew indeed have left for planet Meat. Upon questioning if they've arrived on said planet, one of the Saiyans coerces the officer, having him make up a story on how there was a technical incident and they had to make an emergency stop during their journey. But repairs have finished, so they should be arriving soon. With no reason not to believe this, Dodoria is only frustrated he made the trip for nothing. Inevitably, the day of the visions would come to face the Saiyan people, who all gathered in a desert outside the city. Glancing over to the father of her children, Hanazia warns if Frieza doesn't show, she will defy and kill the king herself, who calmly remarks she'll have to take her turn after Gherkin. Making his way through the crowd, Paragus shouts out to Bardock, thanking him for saving his son, who could see what the legendary child would one day become, knowing they'll need that strength. Running over, a Saiyan shouts out that Frieza has arrived. As the cadences of the massive warriors grows louder, Bardock wasn't crazy after all. Hanazia had not yet convinced. So what? All that's confirmed for certain is that it's an unscheduled visit. It doesn't automatically mean he's come to commit genocide. Arguing it doesn't matter, their leader states they plan to strike first. Knowing they can't allow him to retreat and regroup, he tasks Hanazia with infiltrating and stopping his ship, questioning if she's up for the challenge. But claiming to be the most powerful Saiyan of them all, she believes she's more than adept, causing Gherkin to squabble. Didn't he beat her last time they sparred? Though turns out she was pregnant. While she beelines upward, Bardock beckons. Vegeta, Gherkin, Hodanek, Zucchini, and Paprika know what to do, further instructing 3 others to hide in the shadows to launch more fake moons should any be destroyed. This plan is met with criticism, citing the cowardice behind it, but the king has spoken, continuing as they've prepared. The Saiyans transform, increasing their strength tenfold. A rough estimate should put their individual powers between 15 and 120,000. While alone, they would likely be squashed. Together, with the entire race ranging from hundreds if not thousands united, it may just be enough. A henchman at a monitor quickly alerts of the attack, stating a horde of Uzaru are heading directly towards them. Dodoria in disbelief, as there isn't even a full moon. While Hanazia makes her approach, she knows Frieza's ships are said to have the best shields available, putting that rumor to the test. Another soldier becoming aware of the attack, he's also met with skepticism, as the Uzarus aren't even in range. Changing up her plan, the lone warrior heads straight to the ship itself, breaking through the shields and penetrating the hull. Inside the spacecraft, she can finally take in a breath of air. Only seconds pass before the attack is confirmed. Frieza orders every one of his men to be dispatched, committed to slaughter these fools here and now. Though one underling argues, "Battle against Uzarus? That's madness!" This insubordination quickly motivates the others, calling out the intruder on board. Hanazia immediately puts a boot to the man's back, demanding to know where the engine room is, while the grunt humorously pleads, "I've always loved the Saiyan people, you know." Though she is soon stopped by Dodoria, able to positively identify her. She inquires if he's a fan. The brute merely raises a hand, muttering, "Not really. Die!" "What did you expect? Your power's only 12,000, and I'm at least 22. You don't stand up." In his chamber, an officer reports to his master. Their troops have made their way to the Uzaru army, and 94% of the Frieza force has already been wiped out. As the giant monkeys call for the Emperor to show himself, one asks what they're waiting for, the other explaining, either for Hanazia to lower the shields, or for Frieza to show himself. But time will prove problematic, as they don't have much air up here. Zarbon informing what's going on just outside. Frieza decides he'll just end this himself, using his true power. That last blast catching him in a daze, we spot his adversary staring out a window, in full view of her planet, and the many artificial moons. As the ship begins to malfunction and decompress due to the immense damage, Hanazia makes her escape, just as Bardock calls for all the Saiyans to attack at once. As the tyrannical dictator is over-encumbered by the blast, chants ring out through the Azarus, praising their new king. In the coming days, Hanazia approaches Bardock, bragging their little one went from a power level of 1 all the way up to 12 with just a bit of training. If he were still to be sent to that planet called Earth, he'd easily slaughter everyone there in just a few years, asking if he thinks they should still send him. But the king declines to, stating the ridiculous methods of Frieza are a thing of the past. They will take the Earth and many other worlds one day, especially those in Frieza's empire, but together, not merely sending their young, declaring the Saiyans don't take orders anymore, they give them, ushering in the long reign of the dreadful Saiyan people on the galaxy. But upon the destruction of Frieza's ship, unknown to the rebels, someone happened to be peering in. As it's reported to Cooler, his brother has fallen, scoffing at his siblings' ineptitude to be done in by a bunch of monkeys. Salza points out, had he not been in his reserve state, he would have easily survived, questioning if Cooler would like to embark on the planet himself or simply destroy it in one attack. Confused by his choices, the Space Lord quips he's not doing anything. After all, he's not even allowed to be in this part of the universe, believing Frieza dying was his own fault. However, he will put an end to these pesky Saiyans, just as soon as King Cold grants him this territory.